My brother loves to keep beast men as pets. When he gets tired of them, he discards them. On the day Victoria was abandoned, I found her half dead and brought her back. I restored her appearance, spent considerable effort to reforge her beast bones. At the family head succession ceremony, participants have their blood drawn in public. They need a beast woman to willingly offer her heart's blood to save them in order to qualify for succession. Those who are not chosen will bleed to death. Victoria, however, chose my depraved brother, leaving me with the words, "I never asked you to save me." When I opened my eyes again, I found myself back on the day she was discarded by Ethan. This time, I bypassed her and chose a notorious beast woman, forming a contract with her, binding our lives together. Victoria went mad, extending her sharp claws and resentfully saying, "No, you can't form a contract with anyone else." I lifted her beautiful, delicate chin and said, "Be good. I still prefer you when you were cold and unruly." When my entire body was drained of blood, Victoria was kneeling devoutly beside the altar, releasing her own heart's blood, carefully mixing it with Ethan's blood. Without giving me a single glance, Ethan, surrounded by countless beast women, had none willing to offer their blood for him, while Victoria, the only beast woman by my side, chose to save him with her heart's blood. As Ethan absorbed Victoria's heart's blood, his complexion gradually became rosy, while I, due to excessive blood loss, grew weaker. Soon after, Ethan stood up, took Victoria's hand, and walked over to me, mockingly patting my face. "Sincere, Father always told us not to treat these beast women too well. They're just animals. Yet you insisted on putting your all on her." I directed my fading gaze towards Victoria beside him. 3 years. I gambled everything on her for 3 years, only for her to choose the one who abandoned her. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Victoria stared at me, with disgust in her voice. "I never asked you to save me." I smiled knowingly, closed my eyes in resignation, and resolutely began the next cycle. Everything reset to the day Victoria was abandoned. The butler whispered beside me, "Young master, you've never raised beastmen before. Be careful, some of them are inherently rebellious. The better you treat them, the less they appreciate it." I took a deep breath, looking at the familiar surroundings. The butler continued his chatter, but this time I didn't argue. I nodded, "You're right. The better you treat them, the less they appreciate it." In this world, beast men coexist with humans because of their naturally long lifespan and far superior physical abilities. To prevent beast men from rebelling, powerful human families began to hunt them in large numbers. Strong beast men were sold on the black market, some becoming bodyguards for the rich, while the beautiful beast women became prisoners for their amusement. This time, we were here to choose a beast man for me. As we walked through the dark, damp alley, approaching the underground beast fighting arena, we ran into Ethan. Beside him were 4 or 5 beautiful women, all with beast ears on their heads, covered in wounds, their gazes timid, their postures seductive. Behind Ethan, a servant was dragging a bloodied beast woman, tossing her into the trash can without mercy. Ethan coldly slapped her. "Useless thing, pretty face but good for nothing. Made me lose my bet. You deserve to die." The discarded beast woman, weak and barely clothed, with deep wounds exposing bones, stubbornly bit her lip without a word, curling up in the dirty alley corner, occasionally letting out a faint whimper. This was the Victoria from my past life. My body trembled slightly as memories of my death swirled in my mind. Ethan, noticing me, couldn't help but mock. "I thought it was someone else. Isn't this my saintly little brother? Didn't you always disdain keeping beast women? What brings you to the black market?" I coldly stared at Ethan. Both Ethan and I were candidates for the family head, but Ethan, though highly talented and cultivated by the family, indulged in hedonism, loving to keep and play with beautiful beast women, ruining countless of them. Beast men's lives were as cheap as grass. Even though Mother had urged us to treat beast men kindly, Ethan scoffed, still treating beast women as playthings. It wasn't until the day he inherited the family head position that I discovered his true secret. But my secret was even greater. I could reincarnate. Only a few elders in the family knew this, including Ethan. I shook my head, coming back to my senses, and calmly said, "Ethan, you're right. I used to be naive, but now I understand. I'm here to adopt a beast man of my own." Ethan looked at me in surprise, then kicked the nearly unconscious Victoria like garbage. "You don't know how to choose a beast man for the first time, right? Here's a discarded one, a fox beast man. I'll sell her to you at a 30% discount." Although her face is ruined, her bones are still alluring. Victoria's appearance was indeed destroyed, her skin torn, showing none of her former beauty. In my past life, I pitied her. Ethan intended to sell her to the beast man disposal facility, where beast women would be assigned to entertain various guests, and beast men sent to fight to the death, few surviving. Hearing Ethan's words, Victoria slightly raised her head, her pitiful beast eyes fixed on me, her gray ears trembling, seemingly hoping for my response. I sneered internally, about to speak, when a tall figure emerged from the beast man disposal facility beside us. She had dried black blood on her face, wore a sports suit too filthy to discern its color, yet her figure was well proportioned, curves accentuated. With damaged beast ears on her head and a long samurai sword on her back, she stared at us with cold, blood-red eyes. Her eyes were blood-red, coldly staring at our group. Ethan waved his hand in disgust, taking a step back. I scrutinized the beast woman in front of me, then looked at the crumpled Victoria on the ground, sneering. "Keeping this crippled beast isn't worth it. Better to have a dog." Hearing this, Victoria incredulously raised her head, her pitiful eyes filled with disbelief. I pointed to the filthy beast woman in the tracksuit. "If I'm buying a beast man, I'll buy her." Everyone was stunned, including Victoria. She looked at me, confused and lost. Then Ethan covered his mouth, laughing mockingly. "You're buying her? Do you know what she is? She's the most vicious beast woman from the beast fighting arena, and the lowest of the low." I had never been to the beast fighting arena, but the beast woman in front of me, unlike Victoria, gave me an inexplicable sense of security. The butler suggested I reconsider, but I stubbornly approached the tall beast woman with the broken ears. "Dog beast, want to come home with me?" To my surprise, the beast woman blushed and replied, "I'm not a dog beast, I'm a rabbit beast." Rabbit? I thought. Who has ever seen a rabbit that looks like this? Beastmen naturally had no right to refuse, but being bought by me was better than fighting for life in the arena. I easily bought her with a large sum of money and learned her name, Selena. When leaving the Beastman shelter, I noticed Victoria still lying by the trash heap, the stench overwhelming. She had little clothing left, her chest, as white as jade, marred by a hideous, gaping wound where her beast bones had been removed. Beastmen's lives were cheap, but beast bones were extremely valuable. Without them, a beast man was as good as crippled. Victoria struggled to crawl towards me, reaching out with trembling hands, trying to speak. Before she could, Selena stepped in front of me, growling impatiently, "Stay away from my master." Victoria weakly smiled, her eyes fixated on me. "Sincere, are you really going to abandon me?" In my previous life, her gaze would have broken me, but now I felt nothing. I signaled Selena to step back, crouched down, and teasingly lifted Victoria's chin. "Beg me." Victoria's pupils contracted, and she softened her tone, weakly and gently murmuring, "Please save me." I chuckled. "No." I stood up, leaving her with no chance to continue her act. I could imagine how splendid her expression was at that moment. Proud Victoria, in the previous life, claimed she never asked me to save her, but now she did. Unfortunately for her, I was no longer a fool. Selena and I left the black market and headed home. She naturally moved to the passenger seat, but I shook my head. "Sit next to me." Awkwardly, she tried not to touch me, but eventually handed me a wet wipe. "Wipe your hands." Puzzled, I stared at her, and she blushed, saying, "Your fingers. You touched her. If you dislike her, touching her must feel disgusting." Selena awkwardly explained. I couldn't help but laugh. "Am I that obvious?" I took the wipe and cleaned my hands. The butler frowned. "Second, young master, you should have chosen a more docile beast man. It's your first time raising one. You might get hurt." I patted Selena's head. "Selena is very gentle. She's a rabbit beast. Do rabbits bite?" She looked at me, momentarily lost. The butler, silent, glanced at Selena's tightly gripped samurai sword. "This beast woman is notorious for her ferocity." Selena scoffed. "I could take on 10 beast men at once in the arena." The butler sighed. "Young master, you can't tame her." We returned to the mansion in silence. The butler had servants take Selena to freshen up and followed me to the study, whispering, "Young master, what happened?" The butler, a loyal servant to my late mother, was one of the few who knew about my reincarnation. Though both Ethan and I were candidates for the family head, Father and the other elders favored Ethan. They blamed my mother's death in childbirth on me. Though Father didn't neglect me entirely, he adored the brilliant Ethan. I didn't blame Father, it was human nature. The butler noticed my unusual behavior and sighed. "In the previous cycle, I failed. No beast men offered their heart's blood for me. Only a few knew about my reincarnation ability." The butler's pupils dilated slightly, but he quickly composed himself. "The eldest young master inherited Madame's intelligence and learning abilities, while you inherited her reincarnation ability. Both of you are dear to me. I don't want to see you fight to the death." I smiled bitterly. "Uncle, I don't want to fight either, but I want to live. And to live, my brother must die." The butler sighed. "What do you need me to do?" "Keep an eye on Victoria. I suspect my brother has set a trap. He's been pretending all along. Before I died in the previous cycle, I thought my feelings were misguided, and that Victoria's willingness to offer her heart's blood was due to her stubborn loyalty. But today, I saw otherwise. Why did I coincidentally encounter Ethan discarding Victoria at the black market? It's suspicious. Victoria's behavior was also odd. Logically, in the previous cycle, Victoria was unwilling to be picked up by me. Yet in this cycle she begged. Interesting, very interesting. The butler sighed. "Young master, you've grown smarter." "No, I've just lived longer. After all, this isn't my first reincarnation." Half an hour later, Selena came to the study to find me. She had an excellent figure, previously hidden under her sports suit. Now dressed in a black and white maid's uniform, her clean, smooth skin was apparent. Her slightly messy wet hair framed a pair of stunning starry eyes, though the fierce look in them hadn't diminished. There was a wild, untamed beauty about her. Indeed, it's rare for a beast woman in human form to be unattractive. She stared at me for a long while before slowly speaking. "What do you need me to do? Bodyguard, guard duty, or fight for you?" I couldn't help but laugh, shaking my head before rising and walking over to her. I looked her up and down, nodding with satisfaction. "You don't need to do any of that. From now on, you will eat and live with me." Selena was even more puzzled. After a while, she seemed to understand, blushing as her ears twitched. "I only know how to fight. I don't know how to serve people. I've never learned that skill." "You've chosen the wrong beast." Beast men generally fall into two categories. Some are raised to be beautiful playthings for the rich, often foxes, trained from a young age to please humans. Others, like Selena, are sold to the beast fighting arena, learning various combat skills. Selena clearly misunderstood, but I wasn't in a hurry to explain. Instead, I told her to take off her clothes. Her face reddened further, lips tightly pressed, but she complied, revealing a white, form-fitting suit underneath. Selena's tall, well-toned body, sculpted by years of training and fighting, had a unique aesthetic. Her eyes, still sharp, showed no shyness as I examined her figure. "Do I need to continue?" she asked. "Not for now." I moved behind her, noting the numerous scars, both old and new, forming a web of shallow marks. But these weren't the most important. 2 rusty iron pins were embedded from her collarbones down her spine, a human safeguard against beast man rebellion, equipped with a micro-destruction device. The remote control was in the owner's possession, a button press away from eliminating a disobedient beast man. Seeing these beast pins reminded me of the last cycle when I brought Victoria home. Her beast bones had been broken by Ethan, but strangely, the beast pins were missing. To save her, I had begged Father to hire a beast man doctor, at the cost of transferring control of 3 family enterprises to Ethan. I expended considerable resources to save Victoria, believing we were both abandoned souls who would cherish each other. Now, many questions arose. Why didn't Victoria have beast pins? If Ethan truly wanted her dead, he could have simply pressed the button. Why the trouble? That's why I had the butler keep an eye on Victoria to see who she contacted later. Taking a deep breath, I patted Selena's ear. "Put your clothes back on. I want to make a deal with you." Selena, puzzled, asked, "It's over. What deal?" 3 years. Stay with me for 3 years. After that, I'll remove the beast pins and set you free. Your life will be yours alone." My gaze was cold. In the previous life, I thought true feelings could earn Victoria's loyalty and devotion, but I failed. If an emotional bond can't last, what about a cooperative one? Would the strongest bond be one where we hold each other's lives? Selena squinted her eyes, raising her tone slightly. "What do you need in return?" Looking up at her, I let my fingers trace from her abdomen to her chest. "Your heart's blood. When the time comes, use it to save me. If you agree, we can form a contract, binding our lives together. If either of us dies, the other won't survive. Equal contracts have always existed, but few humans sign them with beast men. After all, who would willingly tie their life to a pet's? Beast men live long, some outlive 3 masters. In desperate situations, beast men also avoid such contracts." I gambled on Selena's desire for freedom, and sure enough, after a brief contemplation, she agreed. A beast man offering their heart's blood loses half their lifespan, but few beast men live past 50 anyway. She wasn't at a disadvantage. We formed a contract by pricking our fingers, the contract ring absorbing our blood. The contract succeeded, the ring inseparable from our fingers, even if the hand were severed. The contract would remain effective. After completing the contract, she lowered her head, pondering for a long time before suddenly looking up, lips parting slightly. "Why me? Why her?" "Because she's Selena. In the previous life, I once took Victoria to see a beast fight. In the underground arena, Selena won 30 consecutive matches, a female beast man achieving such high victories for the first time. Later, she faced an old, crippled beast. If that beast won one last match, it could retire. Selena voluntarily conceded, a rare act in the brutal arena. Beasts who lose typically have their bones extracted. But as the undefeated champion, Selena avoided this fate. The arena's torment would have broken most. I later learned the old beast had given Selena half a biscuit when she was first sold to the arena. Selena, deeply loyal, was different from Victoria. I bet on her to win this time. Selena's recovery was swift. Within days, her wounds were almost fully healed. The butler reported that someone soon took the fox beast woman away after we left. It was a young master from another small consortium, known for his brutal methods, worse than Ethan's. I took note. That weekend, there was a private gathering, a party hosted by various young masters and ladies from different consortia with their beast men. Usually I didn't attend these pointless gatherings, but Ethan loved them. I discreetly let Ethan know I would be attending this time. The stage was set. On the weekend, Selena and I arrived at the venue. It was an outdoor party, with massive electronic screens and million-dollar sound systems transforming the tranquil lawn into a concert-like atmosphere. On stage, beast women in mini-skirts danced energetically, while a group of wealthy young masters and ladies frolicked by the pool. Ethan lounged on a beach chair, a glass of wine in hand, enjoying a massage from several beast women. Seeing me, several of Ethan's close friends immediately surrounded us. "Oh, who do we have here? Isn't it the second young master of the Sincere family? I thought you abhorred these gatherings," one said mockingly. "Ha ha ha ha. Everyone knows the second young master of the Sincere family is different from us party-loving rich kids. He's always busy running businesses, so dedicated. But sadly, no matter what he does, he fails, another chimed in. Yeah, unlike our brother Ethan, who makes a killing with just one investment in any stock company. I remained unaffected by their jibes, but Selena stepped forward, her striking figure drawing everyone's attention. She stood coldly, her samurai sword adding to her intimidating aura. Ethan finally approached leisurely. Come on, don't mock my brother. He's just not as gifted as our parents. At least he's starting to open up. As he said this, he eyed Selena with a hint of admiration. Is this the beast you bought before? Not bad looking. How's she serving you? He reached out to touch Selena's chin, but she coldly warned him. I suggest you don't touch me. The last one who did had all 10 fingers chopped off. Ethan was annoyed but quickly brushed it off. I don't have a beast with such a temperament. What's your name? Don't stay with my brother, come with me, you won't regret it. Seeing Ethan's determination to have Selena, I coughed and interrupted. Ethan, I suggest you stop joking or you might lose more than just fingers. Ethan's expression darkened, but just then, an exaggerated scream echoed. Why the cold face? Kneel and feed me grapes with your mouth. We turned towards the sound and saw a young man in a floral shirt kicking Victoria, who wore a thin, revealing dress, her body stained with blood. A silver chain was around her neck as she knelt on the ground in humiliation. This was Victoria and the young master who had taken her. As expected, that young master had no right to be here. But upon learning I would attend, Ethan had ensured he received an invitation. I feigned surprise. Ethan, isn't this the beast you discarded? How did she end up with him? Victoria, her hair disheveled and eyes red, bit her lip, saying nothing. Ethan's expression wavered but quickly turned indifferent. So, someone picked up my trash? Hearing this, Victoria trembled, her fingers digging into the dirt. The young master licked his lips and approached us with Victoria in tow. Hey, isn't this the eldest young master of the Sincere family? You said this beast is yours? I bought her at a discount. Though her face is ruined, you wouldn't believe how tempting her body is. This young master's crude comments repelled the surrounding crowd, who distanced themselves from him. Ignoring their disdain, he kicked Victoria towards us. Come on, show them, crawl on the ground and strip. Anyone interested can buy her for just $20,000. Victoria glanced at me, her lips trembling, then lowered her head in humiliation. I averted my gaze, not meeting hers. As I hesitated, Selena intertwined her fingers with mine and whispered in my ear, I want grapefruit juice. I nodded. Okay, I'll get it for you. Ignoring Victoria's plea, I walked away. Other young masters found the scene distasteful, telling the young man to take Victoria home and stop embarrassing himself. Nobody would buy a crippled beast. Disappointed, the young master kicked Victoria again, cursing, Useless! I thought I could make some money with you. Worthless trash. Victoria's eyes burned with anger. Observing Ethan's expression, I saw him signal someone, who then bought Victoria, freeing her. As Selena and I paraded around the party, I didn't spare Victoria a glance. Suddenly, someone noticed my contract ring and exclaimed, Sincere, have you lost your mind? You formed a contract with your beast. This outburst drew everyone's attention, including Ethan and Victoria. Ethan was momentarily stunned, but soon curled his lips into a cold smile, continuing to flirt with the beast women around him. Only Victoria watched me with eyes full of resentment. I casually held Selena's hand and announced, Yes, I have. She will be the only beast in my life. Selena's expression shifted slightly, her alluring lips parting as if to say something. I pressed a finger to her lips, then gently kissed her. The crowd's laughter grew louder. I had said this intentionally for Ethan to hear. Ethan's face darkened further. My dear brother was starting to get anxious. Selena probably hadn't expected me to kiss her. She quickly wrapped her arms around my waist, grasping my hand and pressed her lips to mine. If you want to put on a show, you need to raise the stakes. I was taken aback, but she released my lips and licked the corner of my mouth. Acting has to be genuine to be convincing. With a mocking smile, she glanced at Victoria in the crowd. Selena then let go of my hand, surveyed the scene and remarked, "People are leaving. I'll get the car and we can head home." I nodded. Shortly after Selena left, I walked to the horse ranch fence to get some air. Soon, I heard rustling behind me. Before I could turn around, I felt someone push me against the fence. In an instant, a familiar blood-scented hug enveloped me. "Don't form a contract with anyone else." Victoria's broken, tender voice echoed in my ear. In the previous life, she had whispered such things countless times in my bed, only to save Ethan with her heart's blood in the end. Disgusted, I struggled to break free, but Victoria clung to my waist. "I'm sorry, I was wrong. I chose the wrong person. Give me another chance, please." I sneered. "You know what happens to beastmen who attack humans?" "I know," she whispered, lowering her head to cry on my shoulder. "You've come back, haven't you? You remember the previous life, and you hate me, right?" "I'm sorry. I realized after you died that you truly loved me. I know Ethan just used me." Interrupting her, I said, "I'm not surprised Victoria remembers. If I can reincarnate, why couldn't she? And if she's not the variable, then I must be." I feigned ignorance. "What are you talking about?" She looked at me in disbelief. "If you don't remember, why didn't you choose me?" I looked at her blankly. "With so many beastmen in the world, why would I choose you?" Victoria's expression turned frantic, raising her hand to touch my face. Unable to maintain her human form due to severe injury, her nails sharpened. "Your eyes once held only me, full of love." Before she could reach me, a white, slender hand grabbed her wrist with a crunch. Victoria cried out in pain as Selena arrived, a menacing look in her eyes. "Touch him and I'll break your bones." "She lost her beast bones long ago," I replied. Selena paused, then continued, "Then I'll sever her tendons and flay her." Thinking it over, I nodded. "That works." Victoria, clutching her wrist in pain, looked at me and then at Selena. Desperate, she pleaded, "Ethan and I are bound by a contract. He brought me back to avoid my death. I'll choose you this time, willing to live and die with you. Just abandon her." She glared at Selena, convinced she was the reason I didn't pick her. I laughed. "You think you compare to Selena?" Victoria dropped her meek facade, glaring at me. "You'll regret this." Ignoring her, I noticed several figures approaching and decided it was time to leave. "Selena, let's go." On the way back, Selena remained silent, her expression cold. I felt uneasy and spoke up. "You heard everything?" "Yes, I didn't leave. You did it on purpose," I said. She chuckled while driving. "You wanted to see her alone. I gave you that chance. Wasn't this your plan all along?" Selena was intelligent. After a long pause, I confessed, "In the previous life, she was my only beast, but she betrayed me." She responded calmly, "And? You don't wonder how I can reincarnate?" She shook her head. "Would you tell me if I asked?" "I would," I said, recalling my childhood. I was stupid, unable to grasp things as quickly as Ethan. Father only let me participate in the heir selection to avoid gossip. At 10, Ethan pushed me into a beast cage where I was killed. That was when I first reincarnated, going back 5 years. I thought if I became smarter, maybe Father would favor me more. So I studied madly, and each life built on the last. I had just lived 5 more years. When Father took us to visit the beast cage again, I stuck close to him, giving Ethan no chance to act. But that didn't mean he was willing to let me go. After that, there were fires at home, car accidents, and even drowning in the pool. I unlocked all kinds of deaths. All I wanted was to live. Was it really that hard? I felt a bit desperate, not knowing what to do until Uncle found me. He said, "Don't fear reincarnation. As long as you don't die, you can treat reincarnation as a rehearsal. Your previous failed lives were just rehearsals." Later, I learned that to participate in the family head succession ceremony, a beast man must willingly offer their heart's blood. Without it, the participant would surely die. So either I didn't participate, or I needed a beast man willing to offer their blood. I had no interest in competing with my brother for the family head position, but Ethan wouldn't give me the chance to withdraw. After all, a dead person is more convincing than an uncertain promise. So, He always tried to eliminate me before the ceremony. I had no intention of competing, but at this point I had to fight him. Until the last time. That was the farthest I had ever gotten. I encountered Victoria, discarded by Ethan. I thought if you help someone at their lowest point, they might be willing to give their life for you. The result told me otherwise. No one truly loved me. But fortunately, I had the ability to reincarnate. As long as I kept learning from my experiences, I would eventually defeat him. Selena listened quietly to my story. You revealed your last card to me. Aren't you afraid I'll tell Ethan? I smiled. No. Why do you think I formed a contract with you? You must protect me, right? Selena laughed softly. Good thing you didn't truly love that trash. After a moment of silence, I said, actually, she wasn't entirely worthless. At least her voice was pleasant. The speeding car suddenly came to a halt. Due to inertia, my body lurched forward, but the next moment Selena unbuckled her seatbelt and leaned over me, appearing very proactive. Surprised, I pushed her arm. What are you doing? She smirked, whispering in my ear. My gasps sound better than hers. Want to hear? Blushing, I instinctively wrapped my arms around her waist. The next moment, she pressed her chest against my face. Before I realized what was happening, the car made a loud crashing sound. She had used herself as an airbag. The window shattered, and Selena, eyes narrowed, used the hilt of her sword to break the remaining glass. She quickly pulled me out of the car. Holding her sword in her left hand and my arm in her right, the blade whistled through the air as she swung it. She laughed. Looks like your brother is trying to kill you again. I thought being with a rich man would mean less running for my life. Struggling to lift my head from her fragrant body, I heard her continue, We're now bound together. If either of us dies, it's a loss. As soon as Selena finished speaking, several black cars approached, and 4 or 5 burly bear beast men got out. These mercenaries would kill anyone, beast, man, or human, for the right price. None of the bodyguards who usually accompanied us were around. Selena stopped by the roadside, took off her coat and neatly folded it. She drew her sword, taking a few practice swings, looking ready for battle. I doubted her. These assassins are bear beast men. Can you, a rabbit, handle them? Selena raised an eyebrow, a hint of ferocity in her eyes. You haven't seen me take on 10 in the arena, have you? With that, she charged at the beast men, her movements fluid and swift. Her sword gleamed in the moonlight, each step filled with determination, closing the distance in an instant. Her combat skills were exceptional, each strike aimed at the enemy's weak points. The blade cut through the air with a sharp whistle. Despite their strength, the bear beast men lacked agility. Within 10 moves, they were all on the ground, while Selena's dress had only a few wrinkles. She irritably smoothed her dress, sheathed her sword, and picked up her coat, carefully dusting it off. Let's go, my lord. This time the ticket is free. I applauded. Elegant, truly elegant. I approached one of the still-breathing beast men. Who hired you? The beast man gritted his teeth, refusing to speak. Selena drew her sword, severing 3 of his fingers. He confessed. It was the eldest young master of the Sincere family. Good. My eyes turned cold. Let's go home. It's getting cold. We don't want to catch a cold. Selena dutifully draped her coat over my shoulders. I was momentarily stunned. It's cold and I want to bankrupt someone. It was a way for a boss to show off. Selena understood, nodding and removing the coat. I looked at her helplessly. When we returned to the mansion, I saw Ethan sitting in the living room. This was the family estate. Ethan had moved out after coming of age to indulge in his pleasures, while I still lived here. His sudden return tonight was likely to see if I was dead. I didn't spare him a glance, but Ethan stood up, blocking my way. Unlike his usual playful demeanor, he said, Sincere, it's dangerous outside lately. I heard some groups opposed to Beastman contracts are carrying out targeted actions. Be careful. I smiled. Thank you for worrying about my safety, brother. He glanced at Selena beside me and said, Your companion may be skilled, but can she protect you forever? You've lasted quite a while. Ethan yawned and went to rest. Selena squeezed my hand, giving me a reassuring look. Back in my room, she meticulously checked for bugs or surveillance devices before finally relaxing. Just say the word, and I can silently take care of Ethan tonight. I shook my head. Father has invested everything in Ethan since we were born. If he dies mysteriously, Father will have me eliminated too. You don't think I haven't tried to eliminate him before, do you? I'm not as smart as he is, but I'm not stupid. Selena coldly stared at a spot. It's simple. Eliminate your father too. I stared at her. No. If we eliminate him before the family head succession ceremony, the inheritance won't fall to either of us. Besides the normal succession ceremony, there's a special contingency plan to prevent patricide. Then are you just going to wait for him to eliminate you? Selena sat on the bed looking at me with confusion. I continued, from today's situation, it's clear. First, Victoria was his trap. In the previous life, it wasn't a coincidence that I bought her. As soon as I revealed I'd be at that place today, he arranged for Victoria to appear pitifully, trying to evoke my sympathy. He still thinks I'm a saint. When I said you'd be my only companion for life, his expression changed. That's when he knew his plan wouldn't work, so he sent attackers immediately. Second, he probably knows I can reincarnate. Selena looked at me puzzled. Why? He said I've lasted quite a while. You see, every time I reincarnate, it's to avoid his previous attempt to eliminate me. If he didn't know I could reincarnate, he'd think I was just lucky each time his plans failed. But if he knows, each failed plan would mean I've died that way before, and that's why I avoided it. The more his plans fail, the more he realizes how many times I've died. That's why he said I've lasted quite a while. Selena was even more confused. If he knows you can reincarnate, why keep trying to eliminate you? No matter how many times he eliminates you, you'll come back. I smiled. My first reincarnation was at 10, rewinding 5 years. The second was 4.5 years. Each reincarnation shortens the rewind time by half a year. He knows that only by repeatedly killing me in the future can he completely erase my existence. I'm hard to kill, but time is limited. I thought I could defeat him last time, but I trusted the wrong person. This should be the last time. Selena unbuttoned 2 buttons, sighed comfortably, and lazily lay on the bed. How does he know you can reincarnate? I scratched my head. Isn't it obvious? Only 3 people know, my father, my butler, and Victoria. Given she can reincarnate, if I didn't choose her, there must be a variable. If it's not her, she'd assume it's me. But she didn't betray me to Ethan because I only met her in the previous life. My brother has known about my ability for more than one life. Someone told him each time. The butler wouldn't betray me, so it must be my father, who always watched my deaths indifferently. Taking a deep breath, I said, I'll destroy Ethan. I want to live. She looked at me, muttering, I don't understand what you're saying and I don't want to. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it. At that moment, she had already taken off her clothes, revealing a white, form-fitting suit underneath, neatly folding her clothes again. I couldn't help but ask, why do you always fold your clothes? Without looking up, she replied, you bought these for me. I don't want to ruin them in a fight. My nose tingled. It's just clothes. She responded, it's not just clothes. It's the first gift you gave me. Suddenly, I realized something. Why is Victoria so devoted to Ethan, even willing to offer her heart's blood? Is it love? That's the most fragile thing. From her behavior today, it's clear her feelings for Ethan have wavered. Unless Ethan also formed a contract with her. It dawned on me. No wonder Ethan always wore gloves and Victoria was missing a finger segment. Only a life and death contract could bind them completely. But what if I used that against them? I immediately devised a plan. Ethan's 21st birthday was approaching. He's a year older than me. Every year, Father returns from abroad to celebrate Ethan's birthday, inviting many social elites to the party, strengthening Ethan's connections. If I could use this, I might win this time. While I was still contemplating, Selena finished her bath and sat beside me. Second, young master, are you going to sleep? If not, I will. In the dark, I leaned close to her ear. I have a perfect plan, listen. But the next moment she pushed me down, entwining herself around me. She whispered in my ear, "Don't speak now. I'm in a hurry. Let me help you." She bit my neck lightly, letting out some suggestive gasps. Blushing, I instinctively wrapped my arms around her waist. Suddenly, she slapped me. Confused, I stared at her as she whispered, "What are you thinking? Someone's eavesdropping." "Ethan?" I wondered if he was checking how much I valued Selena. That night I struggled to sleep as Selena occupied my bed. Through writing, I shared my plan with her, confident she wouldn't betray me due to our contract. To my surprise, Victoria reappeared in the mansion, her face healed. Though still frail, she had survived. Ethan had no choice but to ensure her survival due to their contract. Asking the butler, he explained, she came back on her own, healed. Now she does odd jobs around the mansion with Ethan's permission. Seeing Victoria passing by, her eyes lingering on me, Selena would cling to my waist, whispering in my ear. I bought Selena limited edition sports cars, custom dresses, and had designers personally outfit her. These were things I'd once done for Victoria, who always viewed them as humiliations. Selena, on the other hand, accepted everything, selling them for money, which she saved in a bank account I had opened for her. When I asked why, she just smiled. To Victoria, these acts were painfully reminiscent of how I had treated her and how Ethan had humiliated her. She often approached me pleading sincere, "Stay away from that woman. She only wants your money." Scoffing, I asked, "And you? What do you want from me?" "My heart. I'll do anything for you. I know I was wrong. Ethan doesn't love me, he uses me. I realized after you died that you truly loved me. He's plotting against you." "Be careful," she confessed, her demeanor cautious. Victoria's willingness to betray Ethan surprised me, but I told her the solution. On Ethan's birthday, with family elders present, I prepared a special gift. Ethan, eager to mock me, opened it in front of everyone, finding several DVDs inside. I clapped, signaling the servants to play the DVDs. Ethan, realizing something was amiss, tried to stop it, but I stopped him. "Brother, this is a birthday song recorded in a studio. Mother loved this song." Ethan's face paled. Father, however, squinted slightly, saying, "Let's watch it." Taking the microphone, I moved to the center of the living room. The screen lit up, revealing not a birthday song but evidence of Ethan's massive debts from the beast fighting arena and videos of him and other wealthy heirs cavorting with beast women at private parties. Father intervened. "That's fake. Ethan wouldn't do such things." I frowned. Protecting him even now? But then a cold, melodious voice interrupted. Selena, in a white dress, joined me. "What about this?" The screen showed Ethan instructing beast women to seduce influential figures. He had a secret club, filled with beautiful beast women, serving as his spies. His successful investments relied on blackmailing others with their secrets. As the guests' secrets were exposed, panic and anger spread. Demanding explanations, they threatened to sever all ties if left unresolved. Father, seeing no other way, declared Ethan unfit as heir. He had to cancel Ethan's inheritance to placate the guests. Dragged away, Ethan noticed Victoria. "You betrayed me. You're insane. I saved your life." Coldly, Victoria replied, "I've repaid my debt." With the spectacle over, I stood on the second-floor balcony reflecting. Father approached, and I signaled Selena to stay alert. Instead of anger, he spoke calmly. "You did well. You've grown smarter. I always wondered, with your reincarnation ability, why you lacked wisdom." Ethan was smart but unprincipled. I remained silent. He continued, "To lead a vast family, both qualities are essential. I can rest assured now." His words carried a hint of weariness, but I laughed coldly. "Father, would you have grieved if I'd died in the beast cage?" Although he had no memory of that cycle, I couldn't help but ask. Wearily, he replied, "I won't answer that again. As head, you must be able to look past your children's deaths. Remember that. It's my last lesson to you." My succession was completed, 5 years ahead of the previous cycle, because Ethan was finished. Victoria became a caregiver at a sanitarium. I told her to control Ethan's life if she wanted safety, maintaining his basic needs like a vegetable. I didn't know how she managed it, but Ethan's condition worsened. Before the ceremony, I asked Selena, "Do you regret our contract?" She laughed softly, "Never." The ceremony was successful, and I became the family head. Feeling the mingling of her blood with mine, I felt a strange power. Love? I didn't believe it. Later, I asked Selena, "What did you think of me when we first made the contract?" She sighed, "I wish I'd met you sooner. You wouldn't have had to die so many times." I smiled, brushing her rabbit ears. Free of the beast pins, she didn't leave, handing me a bank card. "Remember the gifts I sold?" I saved the money, thinking if you gave up the fight or escaped with me, we'd live well. I could keep fighting, and you could rebuild your business. I was momentarily speechless, then looked away. I succeeded. I don't need the money or you to support me. She seemed a bit dejected, chuckling, "True, you don't need me anymore." In the next moment, I pulled her into my arms. Relationships built on love are fragile. I've learned that the hard way. Nodding, she responded, "There's a strong bond called growing affection. Let's try that." "Literal meaning?" I asked. "Yes, literal meaning."